Gentleman yields. I now recognize the gentlelady from New Jersey, Ms. McIver, for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member, for holding this hearing today. The greatest threat to the homeland right now is a Department of Homeland Security that the American people no longer trust, a department actively undermined by its own secretary. This is on you, Secretary Noem.
Let's get into this one, because this exchange between Congresswoman LaMonica McIver and DHS Secretary Kristi Noem got really heated fast.
Today's hearing is supposed to be about worldwide threats, but Madam Secretary, under your watch, the threat is coming from inside the building. Because when DHS, the department charged with keeping Americans safe, is caught breaking the law, lying to the American public, systematically dismantling oversight, fueling bigotry, and targeting vulnerable communities, trust is broken. Let's start with the basics. How can we trust your department with you at the helm? The American people deserve an answer, even if you've spent the past year dodging accountability like it's your full-time job. We need to talk about oversight. Oversight is not optional. It is not a courtesy because you feel like it. It is not something you entertain only when it's politically convenient to you. Yet, time and time again, Secretary Noem, you have treated congressional oversight as an inconvenience at best, and at worst, something to be invaded, ignored, or denied altogether. Republicans on this committee may be willing to hand over their constitutional duty in order to kiss this administration's butt cheeks, but I am not. I will never. My district is not, and the American people sure aren't. While Republicans turned this hearing into a praise fest for your failed tenure, communities across America, including mine in New Jersey, are made less safe because DHS under your leadership has become unproductive and malicious. All of the thank you that we keep hearing from across the aisle, there's no thank you from me. And we see the truth that you're trying to hide. The truth is you are deeply unqualified for the post you hold. This is on full display in the way you treat the people in this body, myself included, who have been elected to serve our communities and keep them safe. Representative Grajava, Senator Padilla, myself and others whose character, integrity, and bodies were attacked by your department without evidence and without apology. Far beyond being disrespectful, you have shown a complete disregard for the oversight authority granted to us by law. You have repeatedly shown that you will target whoever you want, whenever you want, without accountability. Members of Congress, members of our communities, and even American citizens, as many of my colleagues have continued to point out today. Secretary Noem, that's not leadership. That's not democracy. And that is not how this works. Again, this is not just about you. Don't want you to think this is just a pick on you day. This is about the Trump administration that has turned DHS into a political weapon. So I'll ask you this. Is Trump embarrassed by your tenure, or is this exactly the kind of god-awful leadership he wants at DHS? Yes or no?
Ma'am, we've already conducted more oversight visits.
No. It's a yes or no. Yes or no. Okay, Secretary Noem, this is my time to talk, not your time to talk. I reclaim my time. I reclaim my time. I reclaim my time. Chair, I reclaim my time. Secretary Noem, DHS is breaking the law, hiding information from Congress, and shutting out oversight. So let me ask you, how can the American people trust your department with you at the helm with this kind of behavior?
The American people absolutely trust this department to keep them safe. And we are showing that every day by the support we get across the country, the amount of people that we're recruiting to all of our different agencies.
Thank you, Secretary Noem. Do you agree that using DHS resources to target members of Congress is an abuse of power?
Excuse me, would you say that
You would have heard me if you stopped talking and listened to my questions. Do you agree that using DHS resources to target members of Congress is an abuse of power?
We are not doing that. We are out there enforcing the law, doing our work, and we are allowing oversight.
Of course, we're not going to get any answers. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. I now recognize.
To be fair, Noem's defense is consistent with the administration's broader messaging. She insists DHS is enforcing the law, allowing oversight, and enjoying public support. She points to recruitment numbers and morale as evidence that the department is functioning just fine. But here, the problem, none of that addresses the core accusation. McIver isn't asking whether DHS employees are working hard. She's asking whether DHS is abusing its power, targeting political opponents, and ignoring Congress. And when McIver finally asks directly, "Do you agree that using DHS resources to target members of Congress is an abuse of power?" Noem says flatly, "We are not doing that." No explanation, no acknowledgement of the allegations, just a denial. Zoom out for a second, because this exchange isn't happening in a vacuum. We are living in a moment where executive power has expanded dramatically, especially in the name of security. DHS was created after 9/11 with enormous authority and limited transparency, and every administration, Democratic and Republican, has added layers to that power. But under Trump's second term, critics argue that power has become openly politicized. We've seen it in immigration enforcement. We've seen it in protests being framed as security threats. We've seen it in the language used to describe political opponents as enemies, radicals, or dangers to the state. And when lawmakers like McIver raise concerns, they're not just talking about hurt feelings or partisan beefs. They're talking about a fundamental question: who watches the watchers? Congressional oversight is one of the few tools available to check executive agencies like DHS. When that oversight is ignored, delayed, or dismissed, the balance of power tilts dangerously in one direction. What makes this exchange so striking is that McIver isn't pretending the system is neutral anymore. She's openly saying, "This department is being used as a political weapon." That's a claim that would have been unthinkable to say out loud a decade ago. Now it's being said on the congressional record. And Kristi Noem's responses, or lack thereof, don't exactly calm those fears. Denials without transparency don't restore trust. Recruitment numbers don't answer constitutional questions. And public support, real or perceived, doesn't justify bypassing the law. This is bigger than Kristi Noem as an individual. It's about whether federal agencies can be shielded from scrutiny as long as they align with the president's political goals. It's about whether members of Congress can be investigated, surveilled, or publicly smeared by agencies they're supposed to oversee. And it's about whether national security has become a blanket excuse for avoiding accountability. History shows us that when oversight weakens, abuses follow. Always. Not immediately, but inevitably. That's why moments like this matter. Not because of the shouting, not because of the viral clips, but because they reveal how fragile democratic guardrails really are when one branch decides it no longer needs to answer to another. And whether you agree with McIver's tone or not, the substance of what she's saying deserves serious attention. Because once oversight is treated as optional, the damage doesn't stay in Washington. It reaches communities, citizens, and eventually, the rule of law itself. If you found this breakdown useful, drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think DHS has crossed a line, or is this just politics as usual? And make sure to like, subscribe, and share if you want more deep dives like this, because these hearings matter a lot more than cable news would have you believe.